You ready, Terry? Yes? Can you hear me back there?
Yes. Yes.
That is 7, 8, okay. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Trustee Burt? Present. Clerk Triplett here. Trustee Fabdahl?
Present.
Supervisor Miller?
Here.
Trustee Klee?
Present.
Trustee Campbell?
Present.
And Treasurer Anderson is absent.
Alrighty, are there any additions or deletions to this evening's agenda?
Just the
Oh,
consumer
yeah.
energy lighting.
Yep, so we'll have action item C. I'm sorry, I'm staring out into space. You have this before you. It came in the mail to the clerk this afternoon. I'm not sure what time. It's the replacement of a streetlight on, at 1488 Mark Street from what it is currently to an LED, and there's no cost. They wanted board approval and our signatures on this. So there'll be a cost savings, and that'll be action item C. I don't think there's any other additions or deletions? No? Alrighty, so we move on to approval and correction of the, or corrections of two sets of minutes. We have A for the Board of Trustees special meeting, January 23rd. Are there any corrections to the minutes?
Some questions.
Go ahead.
Okay, on here it says that Clerk Triplett was sworn in after the roll call, but that did not happen until after the meeting was adjourned, correct?
So I watched the video also, and we voted on the item. We voted on both items. It was really quick. And then Clerk Clemens swore Manya in. It was like 5:36, and the meeting came to an end at 5:40. So the adjournment should, the swearing in was before the adjournment, but on the minutes it says adjournment, and I don't know if you can put it, the swearing in above the bold adjournment. The adjournment was, that was accurate, 5:40, but the swearing in occurred at 5:36. We didn't adjourn until after the swearing in.
At that meeting, that was the special meeting, right?
Yes.
For the 6 o'clock.
Does everyone agree to that, right?
That's the way I remember
to
it,
the
so I'm
sixth.
glad you looked at the video.
Yeah. Anything else, Trustee Burt?
It says motion to reaffirm, and I'm not sure if that was the motion that was given that night.
So I listened to Trustee Klee's words verbatim, and it said, motion to follow the guidelines presented to us by the attorney Michael Gilner, and then you said to appoint, and then you said to reappoint. The guidelines I have here was to fill the vacancy and appoint. So
Do you want to, I can.
when I reiterated the motion, you made the motion, it was seconded by Treasurer Anderson. I simply said to appoint Manya Triplett clerk. So how, I mean, we can go with your motion, which is, you said to follow the guidelines presented to us by Attorney Michael Gilner. You didn't say to fill the vacancy. His guidelines said to fill the
Said to
vacancy.
fill the vacancy, correct.
And you said to affirm the appointment, or you said to appoint, and then you said to affirm the appointment of the clerk sitting next to me. You didn't say her name. So we need to make sure we have the corrections to this motion. And if I pull up the guidelines from what the attorney sent,
I have this stuff. I was wondering that myself.
So what do you want, what
I think what she's saying
wording
is
is the motion to say? I'll do it right now while you're,
to follow his guidelines, yes.
follow the guidelines of Attorney
But
Michael
my,
Gilner.
my statement should have, I think, should have read to affirm the appointment of Manya Triplett as clerk. That would simplify it if I'm not mistaken. Does that sound right? To affirm, no, still doesn't?
Just a point.
Just to be appointed.
To appoint.
So we should consider filling the vacancy, and it can do so by appointing the person who was elected. So I think the motion should say, you said to follow the guidelines, fill the vacancy, and, appoint.
And appoint, okay.
person who was elected.
Not to reaffirm.
Right.
Scratch, can you scratch
But-
reaffirm, please?
Should we even say?
So-
Wasn't elected in November.
What about it?
So it would have been two.
Okay, so the motion to follow the guidelines of Attorney Michael Gildner and to appoint Manya Triplett as Township Clerk
Well, he has here,
of the term.
we should consider filling the vacancy, and then we can do so by appointing the person who was elected but failed to take the oath. That's, I mean, however,
And it does state here, the pass the resolution, and this is what I thought that I read, I'm sorry. Quote, affirms in all aspects, all actions.
That's the
the
next.
second
That's the
part.
board
That's
action.
That's
Okay,
the
that's,
board
yep,
action.
that's the second part, okay, of what we need to do.
so the motion was, Tom's motion was to follow the guidelines presented to us by our attorney Michael Gildner, to fill the vacancy and affirm the appointment of, Tom said the clerk sitting next to me.
And it
I think
can,
we should include her name.
appointing the person, Manya Triplett, as the person to fill.
As clerk,
As
yeah.
the clerk.
Are we,
Instead of here, it states.
Can you
special
read that?
resolution.
Motion to
States
follow the
the person.
guidelines presented to us by Attorney Michael Gildner and to appoint Manya Triplett as the Township Clerk for the remainder of the term.
yes. So you got the wording, right? Is everyone good with that? Good with this? Okay.
Yep.
Anything else? Trustee Burt, nothing else? Are there any further corrections to the minutes of this special meeting dated January 23rd at 5:30 PM? All those in favor of approving the minutes as corrected signify by saying aye. Aye. Then we have the meetings of the regular board meeting, January 23rd at 6 PM. Any corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving those minutes signify by saying aye. Those
Aye.
opposed, same, okay, it's unanimous. We move on to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, I'd ask that you'd come to the podium and give us your name. You don't need to give us your address, and you'll have 4 minutes to address the board.
My name is Brian Hughes, and I'd like to talk on the subject of an annual budget in which the building inspector should be allowed to perform his job properly. During the last meeting, a vote was taken to have the building inspector repay for the cost of the work boots that he had purchased. If there had already been a precedence on purchasing work boots in the past, I believe this should not have been an issue. With an annual budget, he would be able to purchase the tools and clothing that is needed to perform the job required without fearing of possible injuries. These items could include any and all tools, hazmat suit, respiratory face mask, hard hat, earplugs or earmuffs, safety glasses, winter wear gear such as coat, gloves, leather steel-toed boots, rubber boots, and/or steel-toe shoes. These are just a few items, which I'm sure there are more, that I didn't cover. I believe these are standard items that would be required for the building inspector to perform his job adequately. It has been mentioned a number of meetings about curb appeal in the township. Our building inspector with code enforcement play a key role in controlling blight in the township. The building inspector is on 24 hours a day call but yet he's allowed to use the township vehicle during an 8-hour scheduled day. Also, the department is shorthanded due to vacations, sick leave, or absenteeism. They are not given a fill-in to cover the need, which causes the department to operate shorthanded. When this occurs, the citizens are the ones that is affected due to the work needed cannot be properly conducted. I would like to request 100% support from this department, or for this department, from this board, for the needs they have to support this township. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian Hughes. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board? Let me know when you're ready. Okay.
When my mouse starts going, you can start. You can start now.
Hold on.
My name is Gerald Roberts. I live in Flint Township. When we go and vote for this board, a supervisor, a trustee, a treasurer, and also a clerk, we would expect that they perform their duties, and we would expect a normal work week. Now, there used to be a 5-day work week, and it's been cut down to, I think it's 32 hours now. A 4-day work week.
35.
Okay, 5. Okay. So, at this point, I feel that attendance, just like I was brought up, you work an hour, you get an hour's pay. You as trustees are expected to be here. You know the dates prior to this. You can schedule your vacation days around the days that we have the meetings. If you're not in attendance, you should not be paid for that particular meeting that you miss. I would like to have a referendum by this particular board stating the fact that if there's a trustee that is not here, they are docked for that equivalent time, prorated over a year, that they don't get paid. Simple as that. You work, you get paid. If you don't get paid. Now, we elect a supervisor. A supervisor is what we elect to run this particular township. We also elect a trustee that are expected to be at the board for those particular meetings. There's a certain number of days that are work days, in other words, in this particular year, excluding paid holidays, vacations, and all the other things that you're not here for. But there's a gentleman named Mr. Krieger that was here for years, because I've lived in this township over 50 years. Goes back to, he'd come in here and he'd ask for one of the clerks. His name was Mr. Krieger. And he'd say, "Where in the hell is Layton? I come up here and I want to know where Layton is. Where is he at?" It seems to me that Mr. Layton wasn't here. He had a business someplace else. But, so I called the State Attorney General's office. And I asked, is a person in that particular position as a clerk, a supervisor, or a treasurer required to be there? You know what the answer came back? As long as that particular job is getting done, he's not really required to be here. Now, me as a taxpayer, I would expect that if there's a 4-day work week, you're there. Because if I want to come up and I want to talk to the clerk, or I want to talk to the treasurer, I want to talk to the supervisor, they're going to be there because I'm paying for them to be here. If they're not, there's an alternative. There's checks and balances in the system. And I think everybody here knows what the checks and balances are. If you're not gonna be here and you're not gonna perform your job and the job is not being done, if the heat in the kitchen is too hot, excuse the expression, get the hell out. Because we want somebody in there that's gonna do the job, that's gonna be here if we need to talk to you people.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Roberts.
very much.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Go ahead, Gene. No, I'm waiting on you. It's good to see you here. Why me?
What do you say?
What do you mean? It's all right, Kevin Stiff, G4020 Corona Road, the dive shop, and also a resident of the township for 38 years. I was pretty embarrassed. I watched the video for last meeting, and boy, I tell you what, I was pretty embarrassed. Not a real fan of the building inspector. I've got, in my business, I know a lot of the contractors. There's 3 or 4 contractors that won't work in the township because of the building inspector. But I don't know him, so I'm not gonna throw any spears at him. But you know what, I think he should, I think the police department get boots, I think the fire department get boots, I think the building department, he has to tromp through mud and probably other things. I think he should get boots too. I really looked at the video and that was pretty embarrassing. What is wrong with our township? You know? Did you guys, the last person that missed a board meeting, did you cash that check that you didn't show up to? Because that was more than what the boots cost. You guys need to look in the mirror. You know, during the last vote, my wife lives in Florida in the wintertime. She didn't get her ballot. I come down here. In fact, Barb seen me 2 times because she didn't get her ballot. You can ask Rose. I talked to Rose 3 times because she didn't get her ballot. The clerk wasn't here any one of those times. Yeah, it would come down to the last 2 days before she got her ballot. I think if you, and Jerry just went over this, if something that important, you should be here during that time. The mandatory day for taxes, our treasurer wasn't here. Talking about that, we've got delinquent taxes that haven't been collected to the tune of almost $500,000. And if I'm wrong, please, Supervisor, correct me. We got, and that could be a sliding scale, but about $450,000 in uncollected taxes over the last 3 or 4 years. Remaining outstanding taxes, $425,000. Township delinquent taxes coming to us, $98,000 in uncollected taxes. Where in the world is our treasurer on any given day? You make the kind of money that they make, both, and our taxes aren't collected. You know, these are things that our doorknobs don't know about. Each and every one of the people in this township, they talk about transparency. Where in the world do any one of you out here know about that? Uncollected taxes. Where is it? Nobody knows about it. You know, gets down to boots, pretty vindictive. Barb, you brought that up at the end. How embarrassing. You know, we're supposed to be the biggest township. We're supposed to be have more residents in any other township. What are we working on? We're working on a 1-month budget every month. I mean, and I might be wrong. You can correct me right now. Did we have to turn a thing into the state of Michigan? 'Cause we're running on a 1-month budget? I mean, and I might be wrong. You can correct me right now. Did we have to turn a thing into the state of Michigan? Because we're running on a 1-month budget every month? I mean, and I might be wrong. You can correct me right now. Did we have to turn a thing into the state of Michigan? Because we're running on a 1-month budget? You know, there's a lot more for me to say. I wish we were at 7 o'clock at night because I'm so busy.
Thank you,
I
Kevin.
can't make these meetings.
Thank you, Mr. Steph. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
I'll say something I don't want to say.
Anybody else? Leverett.
Good evening. I'm Gene
Good evening.
Leverett, Senior. I thank God for this evening, thank God for the opportunity of last week, but it looked like we should have continued that prayer. But I certainly thank God for being here today. But I'm formerly the Vice President of Flint Inner City Beautification Association and served there for many years, and I'm a former Air Force inspector. And I have an eye, and then I was a conformance auditor for GM for 40 years, and I have an eye for beautification. And I've been looking at all of the things that we've been trying to do, and I think I mentioned it before that we talk about discovering Flint Township. Well, I've advocated that we do some things probably in a hurry because we run out of time with the summer months. So we want to, I guess, kind of step it up to whatever we're going to do for the beautification factor of Flint Township. We have other townships that I've been around, Clio for one, and they have their bridge that's fully lighted out there. And then we don't have any lights on our bridge down there. And as well, our Christmas decoration. I've seen a Christmas decoration put up for years, for about 3 or 4 years now, and we pay, I think, about $12,000 to $24,000 for that, and I haven't seen a light yet on the Christmas decoration. And as well, our grass cutting and all that kind of thing, I think the supervisor, she's been instrumental in having that put on the water bill most of the time. So I know that we put a lot of energy in things that I really think that don't really matter. We put all this energy in trying to change the name and all this kind of thing. I think that we need to collectively come together, all of the people of Flint Township, and let's unite ourselves where we can get something going that we can really focus on the beautification of Flint Township. If we could put that kind of energy in for changing the name, let's put that kind of energy in unity for all of us to get together to make it happen for Flint Township. And I think this is really necessary. I was talking to Tracy there, and Tracy got a big job on her hand, and we're talking about doing this EDC thing together in a collaboration with the, what's the name of the group, Tracy?
The community engagement people?
Yeah, the community engagement. But I think when what's the group that we had to come in from Flint, Genesee County?
Flint and Genesee Group.
Pardon me?
Flint and Genesee Group.
Yeah. When they came in here, they offered us up a lot of different things that we could do to improve our focus for Flint Township. I think that we need to be making that consideration, or looking at it and rating it very highly, because we really need to do some things to move Flint Township forward and do the things that we need to do to make it happen. Thank you for the
Thank
space.
you. Thank you.
And I think you all are doing a good job. Keep up the good work.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? Anybody? All right, so we're done with public comment. We'll move on to reports. I don't have a report this evening. Madam Clerk, do you have a report?
No reports this evening.
Madam Treasurer's not here. We move on to trustee reports.
I have one. Okay, Shred Day's coming up in May. So, Thursday, May 4th, is Shred Day for seniors. Now, this is for 60 and up. And it's going to be in Mundy Township at their new Miracle Commons. which is on Hill Road, the north side, right before you get to Home Depot. These bags you can pick up at the senior center, if you'd like. You can get as many as you want. If you bring your own boxes this year, take them home. They're not gonna keep them. They're not gonna dispose of what you bring them in. But, if you need 50 or 100, you can get them, okay? So it's May 4th, and it's gonna be from 10 to 1, in Mundy Township this year.
At the
There should be
Miracle
another-
Commons?
Hmm?
At the Miracle
Yeah.
Commons? Yeah.
Yeah, and if anybody hasn't gone there, that's a nice trail too.
Speaking of the seniors, are they doing taxes this year for seniors?
They are. It's
We-
every Friday, but those book up like Christmas Day.
So you have to make an appointment if you want some help
I'm sure
as a
they're full.
senior?
Yeah, they fill
okay.
up really, really quick,
Alrighty.
really.
Okay.
They do a good job and it's free.
Alrighty. Anything else?
So, nope. that's
Trustee
it.
Fafdal?
Fine, thank you.
This way, trustees? No?
I'd be quiet tonight.
Oh. We move on from trustee report, we move to staff
Well,
report.
okay, I might say something. Sorry, just because I heard it. I cleared my throat for a second. I just want to say that I'm happy and pleased that we are always looking at what we can do to support our public safety in our community. And anything that you folks can do to, and I'm not stepping on any of you four gentlemen, and we lost one in the back, he jumped in a cruiser and left, but we are in dire need of younger people than myself and a lot of us that are sitting in this room to give up some of their time to be and to assign themselves to on-call firefighters and to support the public safety and the police department for any way that they can. It's just, we are in desperate need for good bodies, ladies and gentlemen, and we are working right now, the four of them and myself, we have a career exploration fair in March, and they'll be setting up tables, and I've gotten from these guys several applications for 18-year-old seniors to give them out and have them fill out on-call firefighter apps. So anybody that's got a 17-year-old turning 18, an 18, 19, 20-year-old living at home, they want to earn some money, get some clothing paid for, and training, they have got and I'm going to use a bad word, sorry about that, a hell of an opportunity to support this township, Mr. Leverett, yes, and support this township. And I'm going to continue to push that every minute I can. Thank you.
So just to be clear, we have applications for on-call firefighters. We don't have on-call or part-time police officers, so it's just for firefighters right now.
Right, but the assistance and anything that a public servant would like to do to help out is what I'm getting at. That door is always open at the police department as well for help. Asking them, picking up trash, helping the two lovelies in the back of the room and that one at the end, cleaning up flower beds, all that's volunteer work is exceptionally helpful. And the younger ones can carry a lot of mulch.
Thank you. So we'll move on to staff reports. Lieutenant Wangler, do you have a report for us?
I do, ma'am. Thank you. Since the last board meeting, the police department has responded to over 1,200 calls. That breaks down to roughly 85 calls, 911 generated calls for service per day. Your officers have also conducted roughly 100 checks of our local businesses, conducted residence checks in our subdivisions and community, and also conducted over 100 traffic stops. So we're maintaining our busy call volume. And I have no items for the agenda.
All right. I'll jump in.
Stepped out.
I think the supervisor stepped out, so I'll jump in. Since the last board meeting on January 23rd, your fire department has responded to 37 incidents. Kind of a January 2023 overview of your fire department. We responded to a total of 85 calls. This is compared to the 56 last January, so we saw about a 52% increase in calls this January as compared to last January. So it's an extremely busy month for us, including 9 house fires, 8 vehicle accidents, and 12 fire alarms are just a few of the highlights there, on top of the other incidents. On January 24th, we assisted Mount Morris Township on a residential house fire. We responded with one engine and personnel and assisted them for about 2 hours. On the 27th, we responded to a structure fire in the 1500 block of Huran Street in the township. We arrived to find heavy fire conditions in the front of the house that had traveled into the basement and attic. We were assisted on that scene by Mount Morris Township, Swartz Creek, and Flushing Fire stood by to cover our area while we were out there. I also like to say thank you to our PD. They had to shut down Corona Road for us for a little over 2 hours, I think, on that incident for a fire hydrant line to be ran across the road. So thank you to them. That fire is under investigation right now as a suspicious fire. On February 4th, we responded to a commercial structure fire in the 3000 block of Corona Road. There was reported that there was a grill on fire in one of our restaurants there. Luckily, by the time we got there, a fire extinguisher was used. The fire was put out. There was very minimal damage, pretty much no damage to that business. So luckily, that one was minimized. The health department was notified, and they have since reopened. So that's good. Yesterday on the 5th, we responded to a structure fire in the 1000 block of Judd. Fire crews arrived to find smoke coming from the side of the house and the roof of the home. Luckily, crews were able to quickly knock down this fire. There was a lot of damage to one room of the house, the outside and kind of the roof, roof area, but very minor damage overall to that home. And just as kind of a side note, your fire department was able back in November or December of last year to assist Swartz Creek Fire Department by loaning them one of our fire engines for about a month. 6 weeks almost. They were down to very minimal fire engines in their community due to some pretty hefty mechanical issues. Luckily, we were in a position at that time to be able to help them out. In return for that, the Swartz Creek Area Fire Board donated to us 6 firefighting nozzles that have a value today of about $10,000 to our departments. As a thank you for that. So I just wanted to publicly say thank you to the Swartz Creek community for that generous donation to our department. That is a huge help to us. And we have no action items on the agenda for this evening. Thank you.
Couple things. Didn't you tell me in us helping Swartz Creek out recently, they helped us out one time many years ago?
They did. It was way before my time here, but they did help us out when our community was in need like this several years back. Luckily, apparatus wise, we are in a much better place today, and we were able to reciprocate that.
Great. And then secondly, I know because we had a phone call this morning from a resident, we still have smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors available if
Yes.
people request it. But stipulation on that giveaway program is that you're a resident of the township and that it has to be installed by a firefighter?
That's correct. Yes, we received all of those detectors through the state fire marshal's office and a My Prevention program through the state. They received federal funding, I believe, for those detectors. And one of these stipulations there is that the fire department has to actually come out and install those detectors in your home. We're not able to just hand them out, over the counter at the stations. We have to actually come out and install them. If we do not, and they find out, we could, risk losing funding for those in the future. And obviously, we don't want to lose that for our community. So we're more than willing to come out. We just have to do that as part of that program.
Is there ever a time where there's fire extinguishers given away?
Not that
On
I've
fire
heard
extinguishers?
of. Not that I have heard of. Nope.
Just curious, my brother's fireplace caught on fire, and luckily the room didn't burn down because he had 2 fire extinguishers at home. The one it put it out, but then it lit back up again, and the second one put it out, and then a billion people came. They had a few trucks and several men back over there in Southfield, but anyway.
Highly recommended that you have them in your home. Unfortunately, there's no giveaway programs, at least that I'm aware of locally, but it's highly recommended that you have them in your home. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Can I follow to you, sir? And you and I had a conversation earlier this week, so I just want to. We were talking about, and you're talking about smoke detectors, and something that we all do is we're shoveling snow right now, and if you have a fire plug in your
Fire hydrant.
a fire hydrant in your yard or at the corner of your driveway and even if you have like Mr. Stiff in your corner with commercial snow plowing, make sure the guys are not burying that, you know, and not that yours, I'm using you as an example that it's not being buried, but saying that, you know, if they're plowing snow and that even residentials, we
Absolutely.
make sure we shovel them out so that they're not getting covered in
Hopefully,
in
we're
this
not going
time
to
of
get.
year.
Hopefully, we won't get much more of that deep snow. But yes, if you do have one in your yard, you know, in front of your home, please take care of those. You know, those seconds do matter in an emergency. So you know, the more that we can do to help, you know, the better off we'll be if there ever is an emergency. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Worthing, do you have a report for us this evening?
I do not have a report at this time.
Thank you. Mrs. Tucker, do you have a report for us?
We do have planning commission meeting this Thursday. There are a couple of, public hearings for special land uses on the Baker property, that will be held at that time. And, Mr. Leverett brought up the issue with the, signs. I have been in touch with MDOT. They're working on permitting for us and what we need to get those permits to get those signs done, and contacted Craney to let him know. The ramps, he was talking about mowing of the ramps. That will continue again this year. We've met with Dort Financial. They're continuing as a community partner again this year, and so is HAP. I just got word today that they're continuing as a community partner as well, so we'll still have those to help out with the events we do this year. Carol, who's the community events chair for our authorities, went with me. We spoke with Genesee Valley Center on some of the events we're going to do this year, along with people from Shea. And Officer Chiza and Officer Nemechek, or Sergeant Nemechek, was there as well. And so we set the dates for some of the events, so we'll have that list out to everybody soon. Our first event will be the Bunny Trail, which will start the beginning of March. And then we also have, we're gonna work with the police department for an Earth Day event that they're doing, and we're gonna tag that with the Pick It Up, You Can Make a Difference again this year, so that we can do some anti-littering campaign, so.
Earth
That's
Day,
what's
that's
going
April
on right
1st,
now.
right?
Earth Day?
April 1st?
I think it's 20.
Actually made the announcement yet. We've been talking about it for a
Yeah,
few
no, I
months,
don't know what
so-
date they're doing
Right.
that, so it's in conjunction with Earth Day, but I don't know which day it is. We're in preparatory stages of that right now, so just talking.
April 22nd's Earth Day.
Yeah, April 22nd. But what we wanted to do is kind of tag that together so that we're not both trying to do an event for the same thing, so.
And you are in the process of working together to get a meeting with Swartz Creek, Mundy Township, and I don't know, the chamber's gonna be there, our EDC, so you're putting together a meeting.
Yeah, I gotta talk with, well, we had talked about doing it at the community engagement meeting, since that's already where you have people coming in. But, we're gonna have to rethink that, because it's a Tuesday evening, and, that's not a good date for some of the people, so we'll look at a different date.
All right. Thank you. And just to be, with Mr. Leverett's comment, the cleaning of the ramps and the decorations, those are paid for strictly by the DDA for
Yes.
the ramps in that zone or the district. And Bristol Road pays for, the Corridor Improvement Authority pays for their decorations and Bristol Road ramps. And then the Beecher CIA pays for their decorations up that way.
Correct.
Right, so doesn't come out of general fund at all. Anyhow, and you put out dates when those meetings are, if anyone's interested in attending those DDA meetings.
They'll start in March.
Okay. Alrighty, we'll be looking for that. So I don't think there's any committee reports this evening. Our next road advisory committee meeting is next Monday. We moved it to 3 p.m., is that right? Okay. Move on to number 8, payment of the bills. We have a resolution here. Authorize to pay the bills and acknowledge disbursement. Would someone like to make a motion to pay the bills? in the amount of $2,306,088.33. Anybody? Okay, I'll make the motion to pay the bills. Would someone like to second the motion to pay the bills in the amount of $2,306,088.33? And there were disbursements in the amount of $8,348,968.22. So we're looking for authorization from this board for the invoices for the $2,306,000.88, or $88.33. Is there a second, please?
I'll second that.
Got a second. I'm not answering questions. Is there any discussion?
Another, just a refresher, so that there might be some individuals in this boardroom that have not heard me say this before, but we are talking about, and someone else brought it up, about being conscious with the state on where we are financially, to look at this and people go, holy cow, we're spending $10 million. No, we're not. It's a pass-through. A lot of this is the pass-through, so y'all are aware that there are some bills in here that we are paying, correct me if I'm wrong, Madam Supervisor, but a lot of this is our water and sewer pass-through, so that I want people to be conscious and aware that we're not writing a check for $10 million tonight.
So all of that,
Everybody listening.
all of the $8,348,968 is a pass-through. We collect it, and then we have 10 days to get it where it belongs. Treasurer does. Alrighty, no further yes?
I'm just gonna say that I'm not gonna support the bills because they're still in excess of attorney fees. So until that changes, I will be voting no.
Alrighty, we have a motion to pay the bills and a second in the amount of $2,306,088.33. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Trustee Campbell.
Yes.
Trustee Glee.
Yes.
Supervisor Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Favdon.
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Burt.
No.
I mean, who was the seconder on that motion?
Trustee Vert.
Our town team.
So we move on to correspondence and informational items. I received this in the mail. It's for the Board of Trustees. It's from our previous building inspector, retired. It says, to whom? Every once in a while I read comics, but nothing is more comical than the recent article about the building inspector's boots. I'm glad to see that the township is still operating like the three-ring circus that it was when I worked there. Mike O'Leary, building inspector, retired. P.S. They bought me boots. So I can copy this off if anyone wants a copy of it. I don't think there's any other correspondence, is there?
I don't think so.
We'll move on to new business, appointment to the Board of Review. So in the last appointment, we appointed Tim Rualt, and he is no longer interested. We have an appointment for Kenyatta Dotson, and we want to make sure we get that changed. So a motion would be in order to appoint Kenyatta Dotson for a 2-year term ending in 2025.
Clee would so move to accept the appointment of Kenyatta Dotson to the Board of Review expiring January 2025.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor of appointing Kenyatta Dotson for a 2-year term to the Board of Review signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That's approved. We move on to the PEG dollars. I don't have that information in front of me. Did you want to speak on that?
These dollars are actually coming from, is it Carmen Ainsworth?
No, this comes from Comcast.
From Comcast. To go to, yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Yep.
In my ear.
You're good.
You know
No,
more than I do.
no.
but-
Yeah.
These dollars are collected through a fee from all of our Comcast fees, and they get set aside into a fund that then gets allocated to the 3 districts that are represented within Flint Township, one being Flushing School District, one being Swartz Creek Schools, one being Carmen Ainsworth Schools. And the districts are eligible to receive these funds to assist students in the educational realm. Flushing is asking for their funds to be allocated to them this year for the purchase of a new set of software, Adobe Creative Cloud software, for them to continue doing their video editing and to assist them in that. And this is Flushing's request for theirs in that respect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So a motion would be in order to move forward to distribute the PEG dollars to Flushing Community Schools. Does anyone want to make that motion?
Cleve would move to allocate the PEG dollars to be allocated, to be delivered to Flushing schools.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second it.
That's by trustee Campbell. Any questions or discussion? I know this has been off a little bit since COVID.
Yeah.
I think we did it in 2021, and we have, this is for last year's, and 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, there's about $16,000 that we divvy up.
Correct.
I think the last time we distributed 8,000 to Carmen Ainsworth, 4,000 to Flushing, and 4,000 to Swartz Creek. I'm not sure the exact amount, is it listed right there? The exact amount?
This one is for $1,500.
1,500 this time, okay, so the motion should include the $1,500.
For the 1,500, okay. I will amend my motion to include the $1,500 supplement to Flushing
Okay.
schools.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the distribution of the PEG dollars to Flushing schools in the amount of $1,500 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That's done.
Your roll call?
Well, it's only $1,500, so I decided not to because,
Because it would, if it was over 5, we'd have, shouldn't it be over 5? Is that what it is? I was
yeah,
wondering
over
the
5
same
we
if
would do
should-
that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep,
Um,
absolutely.
Action item C is the replacement, the resolution for the replacement of streetlights at 1488 Mark Street from what they currently are to the LED lighting. And this comes from Consumers Energy. A motion would be in order to approve the resolution.
Cleve would move that we accept the recommendation and resolution to replace the streetlight at 1488 Mark Street and to make sure that it's lit on a regular basis in the fact that it will save us cost being that it is an LED fixture
At zero cost to the township.
at zero cost to the township. for the
Is there a
replacement.
second to the motion? Any questions or discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the resolution for the replacement of the streetlights at 1488 Mark Street to LED lighting, and no cost to the township for that. I mean, we end up getting billed for electricity, which gets passed on, but anyway. Alrighty, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And that motion passes. Our next meeting is going to be February 20th at 6 PM. And if there's no further business and without objection, we'll call the meeting adjourned.
You did first, too? Okay.